In today's first reading, Moses, after he has received the Ten Commandments, says to the Israelites, if we'd only heed the voice of God in these commandments, if only you would do that. But of course they didn't heed them. And the more they strayed away, the more difficulties they had. I think we could say of our world today and our country, if we would only heed the wisdom of the Ten Commandments, how much better we would be. But there's a problem. In 1980, the Supreme Court decision, Stone versus Graham, said it's unconstitutional to post in a public school classroom the Ten Commandments. And it's unconstitutional because it doesn't have a secular purpose. That criterion was taken from a previous court about 20 years earlier, saying that you must have a secular purpose. Imagine these extremely intelligent judges who would enter the Supreme Court building in Washington, and above the front door would be Moses and the Ten Commandments there, along with the other great lawgivers in history. And as they walked into the Supreme Court, as they went into the court itself, there were two large oak doors. Inscribed on them were the Ten Commandments. And then when you actually went into the court, when you sat down, on the wall was another display of the Ten Commandments. And all over Washington you see verses on buildings and on monuments, verses of the Bible. All that seems to be forgotten. It all seems to be changed. And we have somehow a new way of looking at things. In those words of Moses, if only you would heed the voice of the Ten Commandments. Now, Rehnquist was one of the judges who gave the dissent, and he said about the decision not being a secular purpose. Well, it certainly could be a secular purpose. You could understand the Ten Commandments has nothing to do with religion, but with the natural law. It's one of the best expressions of the natural law that Western civilization ever came up with. For 3 millenniums, the idea, thou shalt not kill. Most people, whether religious or not, figure that out. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Thou shalt not covet the possessions. Cannot people figure that out on their own without religion? Is that a secular purpose? Honor your father and your mother. These 10 commandments are the foundations of the Western civilization. Without them, you probably wouldn't have any statement of human rights. The rights are built right into them. Even the one that says, the first one about God, it says, the God who brought you out of slavery. That's the one true God to honor. The one who brought you out of slavery. And of course, the Jews not heeding the commandments would end back into slavery. And people fall into all kinds of slavery because they worship of a God who doesn't deliver them from slavery. Whether it be this addiction or that addiction, it's slavery. The true God liberates you. The false God enslaves you. The commandment, don't take the Lord's name in vain, that really means don't commit evil in the name of God. Can't people figure that out? Don't commit evil in the name of God. And it's happening. People they think God tells them to kill innocent people. The second commandment is, don't commit evil in the name of God. Take the seventh day and relax. That's liberation from work. Liberation to be with your family and your friends, to relax. Most people can figure that out. St. Thomas says that the first statement of the natural laws, do good and avoid evil. And every rational person should be able to come to understand that. The second level is the Ten Commandments. And he says, some people will deny them, but most people will accept the Ten Commandments as a natural law. Thomas goes on to say, to apply those Ten Commandments often can be difficult, and people can't come to consensus on that at times. But anyway, if we would only heed in our country the Ten Commandments, would we not be better? It's amazing that people will go through our public school system and they won't know what the Ten Commandments are all about. One of the statements in the majority decision that said it was unconstitutional to put the Ten Commandments in the classroom was, that would exclude the Hindus who don't believe in monotheism. Well, you can let the Hindus put up in the classroom how to pray. Their way of praying is a powerful way of praying. Let the students learn what people have done, the Hindu world, and how to come closer to reality. Let them realize the Hindus had great respect for life. They can't even be posted. That Stone-Graham decision was the first one in which they took a passive object of religion, and it wasn't necessarily religion, and said it was unconstitutional. They not only ignored the inscriptions around Washington, the Supreme Court. George Washington himself said that the American experiment of democracy cannot be successful without the morality and the religion of the people. John Adams said that we stake our political institutions on the value of the Ten Commandments. Now, Thomas Jefferson, to assure the Baptist Association of Danbury, Delaware, in 1801, that they were to be free to exercise their Baptist beliefs and not to fear a national religion that would be imposed upon them. And he used the phrase, the separation of church and state. And 2 weeks later, a Christian church asked the President, Jefferson, could they use the Capitol building for a religious service on Sunday? He not only said yes, but he attended it every week, and it went on for 60 years. A Christian church using the Capitol building as their church. Now, Jefferson truly believed in separation of church and state. The president was not to be the official in the church, and the minister was not to be the president of the United States. They were separate. So we have all this happening until the 20th century, when members of the Supreme Court begin to secularize our foundation. In a way, we can compare religion in the United States today to something of a bottle of perfume or cologne in which it's empty of the cologne and the perfume, but there's still a fragrance there. And the fragrance will only last for a while. But the fragrance tells us that everybody is equal, that everybody is entitled to freedom, that everybody has a right to life. The Ten Commandments really brought about so many liberations in the world, in Western civilization. Feminism, that women are equal to men. It took a long time for the Ten Commandments to take effect. If we would only heed the Ten Commandments, how much better we would be in our country today. Now, the gospel even goes beyond the Ten Commandments. In the course, the question of the Samaritan. The Samaritan who is filled with compassion for the person who is wounded. We even have in our laws today Samaritan laws. That's how powerful and effective it is. Yet, in another sense, religion is being secularized. It's put out of the public square, out of the political system, out of the judicial system, out of academia, out of entertainment, out of the media. Is to be kept private to the individual. The good news is to be kept silent in a way. If we would only heed the idea on the top of the Washington Monument, Laus Deo, praise to God. Can we not publicly say praise to God? Oh, we can. But in another sense, it's not the political correct thing to do. If we would only heed the natural law that's incorporated in the Ten Commandments, if our youth were educated in it, if our politicians would tell the truth and follow them, how much of a better country and world we would have.